Cathy Baker, welcome to Courageous Conversations.
Thank you, Leanne. Thanks for having me.
I've been so looking forward to catching up with you. You've got such a great story. Firstly, though, you are the principal of Bell Central Coast, so you've got 2 offices up on the Central Coast.
I've currently got 2 offices and a team of 14 that work with me across the coast. So we have quite a large geographical area to cover, and just starting to expand into new areas and territories that we've never been in before. But yeah, lovely, exciting area, and lots of opportunity.
Fantastic. And we are recording this still deep in the middle of COVID-19, but we did have some good news just today or yesterday on last night having the local travel, interstate travel. So that's really important for a market like yours.
It's made my day because we had 480 holiday bookings cancel overnight when COVID first started, and then our calendars cleared for the next 6 months. So to be able to get back to holidays and going back to a little bit of normality up here is really welcomed.
Yeah, fantastic. Actually, we might just start there. You have been doing a lot to support your local community during this time. Can you tell us a little bit about your charity, when you started it, why, and how that's evolved?
Yes, I suppose working in an isolated fishing village where there's very little transportation and people choose to come and live here permanently has its downside in the fact that people can become very remote and lonely, and also find it difficult in old age to be able to get to amenities and doctor's appointments and things when they're not well. And so an initiative I started back 5 years ago was a charity called Killy Cares that I had the brainstorm of one day, and I saw it as being a vehicle that could help us keep the elderly in their homes for longer, and also look at how we could put a structure of volunteers around the community to support them, and have that support when people were in need, whether it be meals or transport or whatever they needed to do to help them live in this beautiful area for longer. So through COVID, we've had 320 people within our community that we've been supported with a group of volunteers of about 32. So we've broken them down into suburbs. Each suburb's got about 6 volunteers, some of them cooking, some of them delivering food. Wow. And we've been able to completely make sure every person has been catered for with regular meals, shopping, deliveries, anything that was needed. And we've got a community Facebook page on the Killy Cares group, so we've been having our regular bush poet going, keeping people's mental health really great, virtual exercise, creative writing for the kids to keep them entertained while being at home, and anything else that we could do just to really support our community during this time. And I think it's really important, particularly in the real estate sphere, that we're seen as being a pillar of the local community, apart from being a trusted advisor on all different types of things in life rather than just real estate, so that we're regarded and have the right reputation within the community that we work.
That's just phenomenal. Congratulations. You must be so proud of that initiative.
Yeah, I am, and it's great watching it grow every year. Last year we put 258 people through their CPR course, and we've got AEDs at every local cafe and surf club. So, if somebody has a heart attack, there's one of 5 people within a street that have, know exactly what to do, where to get the AED, and how we can help each other. And it runs through our fireys and our surf club and everything else, but it's really rewarding to be an integral part of that community.
How do you get the time to put something like that together?
You make time. Give a job to a busy woman and the job gets done, don't they say?
Yeah, that is what they say. Take me back to how you got started in real estate. How long have you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry 10 years now, which, seems like a blink of an eye, but yeah, it was fantastic. I suppose a little bit different to most people. I started in real estate age 40, and, out of an unexpected circumstance. So I was an interior designer. My husband had a very renowned building business that had been doing a lot of work for top-end architects throughout Sydney. He did a private job for a gentleman that we didn't know was a professional crook, and the outcome of that was he came home from work one day and said to me, basically, we'll lose everything because this guy was owing us well over $1 million and had no intention of paying us, and was, quickly closing his business so that he didn't have to pay his debts. So overnight I had a decision to make as to, do you lay down and cry, or do you, do something about it? And I thought, nobody's going to take my home. And so I quickly got into plan B and had to make some hard changes. So I've got 4 boys that were all in private school that they loved, and I had to quickly overnight decide to pull them out of that, put them back to public education and find a job. And so real estate became my first job at age 40, with juggling 4 boys at school and a husband whose business, I was having to negotiate on payment plans and different things to pay back that, contractors that were owed, etc. And I suppose I came in with a different mindset, because I thought, well, I'm already 40, by 50. I don't want to just be a real estate agent. I wanted to have had the most relevant and respected real estate agency on the Central Coast.
Yeah.
And so I put a 10-year vision board together to decide what that journey looked like and how I was going to achieve it. I hired 5 mentors and coaches. So Wayne Stewart, as you well know, was part of my REI program and mentorship. Gillian McGrath, who's been with me for 10 years and is one of my dearest friends, who was my coach for the first 5 years and mentor for the second 5. Dr. Fred, Phil Harris, Tom Ferry, the list goes on. I help
pretty impressive list there of some of the best people in the industry you've got around you.
I sort of did my research before I came into real estate and said, how can I fast track my career? Because in 10 years' time, I don't want to just be an agent writing $100,000 a year. I want to be one of the most professional business owners in the region. And so how can I do this? So I rallied around the support of those 5 or 6 people, and I held myself fully accountable to a plan of fast tracking to become $1 million agent within 3 years of being in real estate, and then building a business there onwards. And I've just stayed true to that plan and never faltered from it. And along with the business side of things were all the things in life that I wanted to achieve, like paying off my house. So I was, didn't have the financial burdens anymore, putting my boys back through private education and, many other things, as well as Richard Branson and all those things in that 10 years I've achieved, plus more besides, from being focused and having a detailed plan as to how to go about, achieving all of those things.
That's an incredible story. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You mentioned Richard Branson, so tell us that story.
Yeah, so Richard has always been one of my heroes from, back when he was back on vinyl records, when, in my younger years, to being always somebody that I thought was just an inspiring business person, but also somebody that gave back in a large way to communities and causes that he saw were in need. And I followed all of his businesses, and they fall down 7 times, get up 8, and the mentality he has about screw it, let's do it, and the fact of just having a go and doing your best and really putting in 100% to your business, but also his creative thinking is very aligned with where my head space goes. I had a long time dream from that first year in real estate that I always wanted to meet him, and I never thought that would ever become a reality. I thought it would be mainly, a book or a show or something that I watched of his. And then 10 years later, by chance, I went to Noosa, and I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. And I went to Noosa. I picked up a book at the airport. I read it from front to back cover. It's a book called Remarkability by a friend of mine, Lorraine Murphy, who I never knew at the time. Read it from front back to back cover, sent a throwaway comment on Facebook as I got off the plane to say how much I'd loved the book, and I went back through it a second time with my highlighter to, she's got these great chapters at the end that say get your shit done, and it gives you like a clear list of everything that you need to implement. So I sent her this throwaway comment, and she said, "Oh, you've made my day. It's the first day the book's been released. I'm sitting here on Necker Island with Richard Branson, and I couldn't be any happier." And so I sent a throwaway comment back that said, "Well, not quite Necker Island, but if you ever need a holiday, feel free to reach out. I've got plenty of holiday homes in Kilcare." Yep. And 2 weeks later, she rang me and said, "My book's gone to #1's bestseller in the country. I need to bring my team away for a retreat. Could you accommodate us?" So she came and spent 2 weeks here, and then she nominated me to replace her on the leadership trip to Necker Island. So through that, I met Emma Isaacs, the head of Business Chicks. Yeah. Became friends with Emma, and I went to Necker last year with a bunch of 23 entrepreneurial women from around the world, which was the most incredible thing ever. And I'm actually going back, supposedly going back in December. Might not happen, but we made a pledge between the 23 women that went that the British Virgin Islands, after several hurricanes, had really had a bad effect, especially of domestic violence. There's 25% problems with domestic violence in the islands. And Richard, as part of his Virgin Unite, had asked us to rally round and create some support for a shelter for women and children on the island. So between the 23 women, we pledged to raise $350,000 to make this shelter a reality. And as you know, what the power of women does when they're put together, that's very close to becoming realised. And we're hoping to go back in December to see the project through and work with the women from the BVI to get that plan in place. So
wow, that's fantastic. What an experience though, to go to Necker Island and meet Richard Branson and be around those 23 incredible women.
Richard was there for the whole two weeks we were there, which was just incredible, sitting next to him at breakfast and lunch and playing tennis with him. And then we sat at the Elders Chapel where he'd sat with Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu and got a sense of all the dealings that had gone on in that area, So, yeah, it's fantastic.
Wow, that is just amazing. I could talk to you all day about all of this stuff. I know that you spoke at one of the Women in Real Estate conferences that I was emceeing, and people that are watching you speak now wouldn't realise it, but speaking absolutely terrified you. Right?
Yeah, always. Yeah.
And I remember Gillian McGrath was with you, and she was like, come on girl, you can do this. Why? There's a lot of people watching this that would be saying, well, speaking terrifies me, but I would never put myself through it. So why, when you're so accomplished, you've achieved so much in other areas of your life, why do you feel the need to actually scare yourself like that and push yourself into doing that?
Yeah, well, I suppose we can all be victims of our own self-talk and lack of self-belief. And, I'm a person that's always put myself last. I've always been somebody that gives a lot to others but never, is comfortable within my own skin, I suppose, and comes probably from my childhood where I was a really shy child that just was very awkward. And it's something that I've obviously battled with for many, many years. And, as much as you can try and talk yourself around those things, actually when you put on the spot and in that situation, you can sometimes just get really struck for words and feel really uncomfortable. But, having Gillian for a coach for the last 10 years, it's always been something that we've tried to work on. And she's had me speak to various different smaller real estate groups at training sessions that she's run and different things over the years to try and win me around to doing that. And I suppose the one thing that did resonate with me, and the reason that I probably did it was mainly because of the thought of helping people. And I know, especially at the moment, there's a lot of people that are, struggling out there with real estate careers that have either started and been thrown into the wolves, or have been, introduced to real estate in the wrong way. And through our chapter committee, we, at the REI, we hear a lot about, people that don't have best practice in place and don't have that wonderful introduction to the industry. And that's something that I've always been passionate about, trying to change and supporting people that really did need help within the industry. So, I saw it as my way of helping. And when Tom Panos and John rang me about speaking at ARIC, I was nearly freaked out.
You must have been relieved when it was cancelled, right? And you only had to do it online. You were probably the happiest person in Australia.
I did, and then he rang me on the Friday and said, by Monday you need to be speaking. I'm like, this the whole speech had gone out the window because I didn't think ARIC was happening, and then within 48 hours I suddenly was on this webinar. So, anyway, I think Richard Branson's always, sort of taught me that, you say yes first and worry about how to or why afterwards. And, it's part of your personal development to just keep pushing forward. And as a business leader, it's sort of an essential now that I can do Zoom meetings with my team, and, I can lead my business from the front, and those things become essential parts of your business that you need to be able to overcome. So, just facing.
So you're glad. Yeah. You're glad you scared yourself and forced yourself into it.
I am, because from those talks over the last 2 weeks, I've had 28 people that have reached out and asked me to help them with various different things. Some people from New Zealand, where the market's been really, pretty much closed, and different parts of Australia. And I just find that overwhelming to think that there's, it's beautiful for me because I love helping people, but it's also overwhelming to see that there is so many people struggling out there, and without need to be, because there is people that will support them. And I was lucky enough to have that support when I started my career, that I think that, it's lovely to be able to give back to the industry in the same way.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You obviously have benefited a lot from some fantastic mentors in your career, and I thought it was great that your first mentor in real estate was Wayne Stewart through the REI mentoring program, right?
Yeah.
What a success story. Wayne must be so proud of you.
Oh, he's a wonderful man. We enjoy a great friendship now. Yeah,
he's an absolute sweetheart. But it's really nice to see. What is it about the mentors? Like, how did you engage with the mentors in your early career?
I basically begged them all to help me, because I wasn't really in a position to pay them to assist me at that time. But I basically said to them, if they were able to give me the help that I needed, that I'd make sure that they were, paid whatever their fee was as soon as I was able to. And I suppose the passion in my voice was probably enough to make them say yes, and know that I was, somebody of my word that would come back and, do what I needed to do to pay them afterwards. But, they're all still great friends and people that I still hold as my trusted advisors today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And now you are being that person for a whole lot of other people by the sound of it.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's nice to be able to give back, and, a part of your growth is just that, seeing other people rise beneath you, which is great for both my team internally and also, anybody else in the industry that I'm able to help.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you more at some stage about that 10-year vision board and how you got clarity and how you actually made those dreams come to life. So we will talk more about that at another time. But for right now, I'm going to let you go and deal with those holiday bookings. Yes, holidays are back on the agenda. And so thank you so much for taking the time. I really, it's been a joy to talk to you.
Thank you for having me, Leanne.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
I will, you too.